So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today I want to talk a little bit about spiritual warfare. Let me start, and the word that I want to focus on is in ayah number 11 of Surah Al-Maryam. Okay? So, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فخرج على قومه من المحراب. So, Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam, he came out to his people from the mihrab. Okay? So we're going to focus on this part, this mihrab. What is mihrab? What does it have to do with spiritual warfare? Okay, so mihrab, as I will show you in a little bit of detail in just a little bit, mihrab is from harb, and the word harb means war. But over here, as you'll see in the tafsir, mihrab is the place where you pray before you go to the masjid. And mihrab means war. A place where you pray, where you do spiritual war. And so let me show you from the Arabic dictionaries to start with. So I'm going to start from here. وَالْمِحْرَابُ الْمَسْجِدِ, as far as the mihrab of the masjid. So that is usually, let me explain to you what mihrab has become today and what it was in the past. Okay. So what it is today, usually the front part of the masjid where the imam stands, usually nowadays we call that mihrab. Okay, so this is where usually the imam will stand, and from where he leads the people, right? Maybe many of you are familiar with this. But the Quranic terminology of the mihrab is a little bit different, even though it does have to do with prayers. But let me show you. So it is saying here, mihrab al-masjid qila سمى بذلك لأنه مضع the place of the موضع المحارب الشيطان والهوى. This is the place where you fight against shaitan and your desires. So mihrab is the place where you pray. Okay, and it used to be a place, a room, as you'll see. It's a room where you pray your personal prayers. Okay, so now with this in mind, it says, فَخَرَجَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ مِنَ الْمِحْرَابِ. So he came out to his people from the mihrab, from the room that he had to pray, from the room that he was in which he was praying. And this praying was a lot of prayer. He was standing like a soldier. So much prayers. So much prayers. It was like he was standing like a soldier. That's why it's from harb. And harb means war. And that place where you're standing and praying and reading and praying and doing dua, as you're going to see the effect of this. فَخَرَجَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ مِنَ الْمِحْرَابِ فَأَوْحَىٰ. So he made signs and signals. إِلَيْهِمْ. So when he came out to them, when did he come out? He came out and he was praying in his personal prayer. As you'll see from this verses from 1 through 10, as I'll show you. So he was praying in the mihrab, doing a personal prayer, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the good news of his son. Okay? فَأَوْحَىٰ إِلَيْهِمْ. So he told them in signals, أَن سَبِّحُوا بُكْرَةً وَعَشِيًّا. So there are different tafsirs of this, but he signaled to them to praise Allah in the morning or the evening. The other meaning is بُكْرَةً وَعَشِيًّا, to pray in these timings, meaning he was encouraging them to pray in these timings. Now, why is this important in terms of spiritual warfare? Because when you stand up like a soldier in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and do a lot of prayers, but the way you do prayers is you show your brokenness, and you show your nothingness, and you show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala everything is in your hands. And even though it seems impossible, and asking Allah for the impossible, and showing your brokenness, how broken you are. So with this in mind now, let us just quickly review what was said, okay, and how it was said. So بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كاف ها يا عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا. And Allah says a report, a mentioning of the mercy of your Rabb to his servant Abduhu Zakaria, his servant, his special servant Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam. إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا. When he did nidah, he called upon, Oh Allah, Oh Allah, Oh Allah, Oh Allah. Not one time, not 10 times, not 100 times, but for hours and hours and hours and hours. That's how you do dua. That's how you really do dua. If you really believe in Allah, you'll knock on His door forever. Okay? Until I will knock on your door till I get what I want. And that's very hard for a lot of us. So this is why the Prophet gave us shortcuts. إِذْ نَادَ رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. When he called upon his Rabb in khafiyya, lightly, or in a low voice, or in seclusion. No one could hear him. And now in this private conversation between him and Allah, he says, قَالَ رَبِّ إِنِّي وَحَنَ الْعَظْمُ مِنِّي وَاشْتَعْلَ رَأْسُ شَيْبًا. Oh my Rabb, my bones have become feeble. I'm unable to do anything. And my hair has become white. Okay? With grayness. Okay? And lam akum bidu'aika rabbi shaqiyya. I'm asking you for the impossible, but I know you never say no to my dua. Whatever will come from you will be good. Okay? I'm never akunu bidu'aka rabbi shaqiyya. I'm never unfortunate or never wasted my time, or this is not just some good luck charm. This is Allah. Inni khiftumul mawaliya min wara'i. I fear regarding my mawali, my relatives, min wara'i, after me. وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي آخِرَةً. And my wife, she's barren, she's old. I'm 100-some years old, she's 90-some years old. فَهَبْ لِي مِن لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. So Allah, grant to me, nothing's impossible for you. You can do all things. Grant to me from yourself, from your special self, a child. يَرِثُ ni, he will inherit from me. وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ. And he will inherit from the family of Yaqub. وَجَعَلْهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا. And Allah, you be happy with that child. So, he's asking for the impossible, not for himself. Not for himself. But for his future of his family. Future of his family, that who will guide my family? Who will guide Bani Israel? And then in this state of brokenness, knowing that Allah can do the impossible, and even though I'm totally incapable of doing this, and I know my wife is barren and I'm old, even though it is impossible for this to happen, but I believe in you, and I'm going to ask you to do the impossible for me. If you are truly broken, and if you truly believe, and if you truly humble yourself, then this is what will happen. And if you're not doing this for yourself, you're doing this truly for the right reasons. Ya Zakaria, O Zakaria, the angels now come while he's praying in the mihrab, when he's in that mihrab, when he's in that place where he was waging war for the future of his people by prayers. Ya Zakaria, O Zakaria, inna nubashiruka bi ghulam. We're going to give you the good news of a ghulam, of a boy. Ismuhu Yahya. His name will be Yahya. وَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ سَمِيًّا. And we never gave this name to anyone before, is one meaning. The other meaning is, we never made anyone like this. This is a very special boy. We never gave anyone a boy like this before. And then ayah number 9, 8, and 9, I won't discuss. Basically, he was praying to Allah for the impossible, and then the impossible happened. What does that tell you? That people can be in different states. There's a state where you break yourself down in front of Allah, and then when you finish your dua, or finish your prayer, or finish your tasawwur, or finish your tawajjuh, and then now you're back on reality, and now he sees the angels telling him, oh, you're going to have a son. And so, I'll just translate this very quickly, but one day, inshallah, I'll go into more details. قَالَ رَبِّي أَنَّا يَكُونُ لِي غُلَامٌ. Oh my Rabb, how will I have a son? Okay. Oh, sorry. So the angels come and give him good news, and then he says, oh Allah, how am I going to have a son? You were just praying for a son. You just saw Maryam with the rizq, with the fruits, that she said she's getting them from Allah. And that's when you prayed for this dua, and then this is the other time. قَالَ رَبِّ أَنَّا يَكُونُ لِي غُلَامٌ. How will I have a son? وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي آخِرَةً. And my wife, she's barren. He just said this to Allah, she's barren. وَقَدْ بَلَغْتُ مِنَ الْكِبَرِ أَطِيَّةً, and I have gone beyond old age. قَالَ كَذَلِكَ, this is what the angels always say, this is how it is. قَالَ رَبُّكَ هُوَ عَلَيَّ حَيٍّ, it's easy for me, your Rabb says this is easy for me, Allah says it's be, and it is. وَقَدْ خَلَقْتُكَ مِنْ قَبْلِ, I created you before this, didn't I? وَلَمْ تَكُ شَيْئًا, and you were nothing. You were nothing and I created you. قَالَ رَبِّ اجْعَلْ لِي آيَةً, oh Allah, give me a sign. قَالَ آيَتُكَ أَلَّا تُكَلِّمَ النَّاسَ ثَلَاثَةَ لَيَالٍ سَوِيًّا. He said, look, you won't be able to talk to people for 3 days straight. This is what Allah said, or the angel said, through Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Zakaria. The sign for you is you can't talk to the people. Now, after being given this good news, فَخَرَجَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ مِنَ الْمِحْرَابِ, obviously he's very happy. He comes to his people out of his mihrab, meaning where he was. This place where he was waging a spiritual war, it was a harb. And the place of harb is mihrab, where he was waging spiritual war, praying for the impossible to happen. Okay? And this is what happens. The praying in a place, in seclusion, breaking yourself down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the impossible happen. Will make the impossible happen. You don't have to be a perfect human being. You just need to find moments in your life, days and times in your life, where you get the enjoyment of doing ibadah. And you find a place where you do ibadah. And you do it, and you do it, and when you really need to do it, you learn to break yourself down, and break yourself down, and break yourself down, and humble yourself, and ask for the impossible. It's impossible because of how weak you are, because of how weak you know you are. And now you're asking, because at the level of breaking yourself down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can't even make food. Like, I'm so weak, I can't even do anything right. So at that level, everything is impossible. And so now you break yourself down in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you say, Allah, I can't do anything right. You need, please, alhimni rushdi, make me do the right things. Allahumma wafiqni lima tuhibbu wa tarda. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give me the knowledge of understanding of what you like and what you love and what will make you happy. And mihrab is the place in where you are secluded from everyone else, and you wage a spiritual war, and you change history. You change the direction of your life. You change the history of the world. You change, and that is done by breaking yourself in front of Allah. And you break yourself, Allah, where you can't do anything anyway. I can't do anything right anyway. I'm so incapable of doing anything. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you help me. Of course, the maqam and the words and the feelings of Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam was 1,000,000,000 times more than what I'm trying to express. But you get the gist of this word, mihrab. Let me end by showing you one more thing. So in the tafsir of this ayah, فخرج على قومه من المحراب فأوحى إليهم أن سبحوا بكرة وعشيا. قوله تعالى فخرج على قومه من المحراب قال ابن زيد من الصلاة. So he came out from his mihrab, meaning from his salah. Okay? And so he was praying, but this praying was waging war. It was a spiritual war. And this spiritual war is where you're facing Allah and you're breaking yourself down to Allah. But it's like you're waging a war against yourself. You're waging a war with your body, because it takes a lot. Like, if you do a lot of ibadah for many hours, not 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 1 hour, at least, you've been asking at least for 3 hours, right? Something that you want, you have to ask for 3 hours and break yourself down. You have a problem, ask for 3 hours in a secluded place. Keep there, stay there, don't leave. Ask Allah and keep breaking yourself down. Keep humbling yourself. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer your dua, inshallah ta'ala. Ibn Ashur says, فَخَرَجَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ it says, مِنَ الْمِحْرَابِ بَيْتٌ أَوْ مُحَجِّرٌ يَخْصُصُ لِلْعِبَادَ الْخَاصَّةِ. Okay, so it is what? It is a place khas, special for ibadah, for a special type of ibadah. Okay, so the mihrab is a place. So where is the place in your house that you have, that's between you and Allah, a special place in your house where you can do dua and prayers, and you can sit there for 3 hours or pray for 3 hours and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what you want, and where you can learn to break yourself down, learn to express your absolute need and dependency on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is there a place like that in your house where you can do that? Well, this is the month to do that, the month of Ramadan. In another tafsir, فَخَرَجَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ مِنَ الْمِحْرَابِ أي مِنَ الْمُصَلَّةِ, from the place he prayed, أو مِنَ الْغُرْفَةِ, or from his ghurfa. And then there's other specific explanations they gave about this. Just for further clarification, mihrab, ismu madda, the root word is harb. Okay, and in the last thing, inshallah, I will show, فَخَرَجَ عَلَىٰ قَوْمِهِ معنى أن الله تعالى أظهر آية بأن خرج زكريا من المحراب وهو موادئ الصلاة. So Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam was in his mihrab, which was the place of his prayer. Well, mihrab, he's talking about mihrab is an elevated place. And then he's going to talk about what are the meanings of the different root words. So he says, اختلف الناس في اشتقاقه فقالت فرقة. So they disagree about its wording, okay, how it's ma'khuz. وهو مأخوذ من الحرب. And so one of the meanings is that it's from the word war. And like as if you're يحارب الشيطان والشهوات, like you're fighting against or doing war against shaitan and the desires. وقالت فرقة هو مأخوذ من الحرب. And one group said it's from, instead of harb, which means war, haraba, which is also related to that. Harban ta'banan nasban, to become tired, to be in difficulty, to be stressed. Okay, and so these are the different opinions about the word harb, from which the word mihrab comes. But the idea is that how do you do spiritual warfare? This is how you do spiritual warfare. And then why is this surah tied to Surah Al-Kahf? Because once you understand Surah Al-Kahf and the fitans, and you understand that what fitnas your children will be going through, especially this surah, this part of the surah is about the coming generation. Well, for your children, you have to do harb, you have to do a war in your place of mihrab, in your special place of seclusion, where you have to fight for your children by spiritual warfare, by asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, breaking yourself down and knocking on the doors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that the things change, and things will change, inshallah ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to do everything, and there's nothing that He doesn't lose anything by giving, and He doesn't give because you deserve it. He gives it because that's what He does. But He will pay more attention to the one who remembers Him. And so everybody remembers Allah for 1 minute, and everybody remembers Allah for 5 minutes, and everybody remembers Allah for 10 minutes, and everybody remembers Allah for 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, or 1 hour of Taraweeh, or 1.5 hours of Taraweeh. But if you remember Allah more than what other people remember, then He'll remember you more than other people, and you have a better chance of getting a response. And so one of the ways to get a response from Allah is to show that you're willing to fight, You're willing to fight and stand there in your special place over and over again, asking Allah over and over again, and not giving up, and having yaqeen, and having belief, even though it looks impossible. Like it was in the case of Zakaria alayhi salatu wasalam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all our affairs easy, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, assalamu alaikum.